Welcome to the channel, guys. We are back again, and today I'm going to be doing a review on Dolce Passione, so stay tuned for that. And if you like the content, hit that like and subscribe button. Really do appreciate it. First and foremost, I want to say just first of all that this fragrance was sent to me by a subscriber. Really do appreciate that. She sent me a whole bunch of fragrances. This is one of them. This is a Gourmand fragrance, so of course it caught my attention. This is from the Italian house, Pantheon Roma, and this is Dolce Passione. So what do I get with this fragrance? This one actually on first spray does open up to me a little bit boozy. There's something in it that has a syrupy, boozy type of quality. Now that does actually only sit in the fragrance for, I would actually say 15 to 20 seconds before that booziness kind of subsides. And it is more of a booziness than an actual alcohol smell. So I don't think that it's like a sign of a lower quality fragrance. And then immediately what hits you is the chocolate and the truffle. Very, very potent, very nice chocolate. That truffle gives it a little bit of a vibe. If you've ever had those, they're kind of like chocolate with circles. They're eaten a lot during Christmas, and I think they are truffles or something like that. It smells very, very close to those. Absolutely gorgeous scent, and I just want to say, this is actually one of those fragrances, you know, when you're just not in the mood, smell something like this. Very uplifting. The opening is very delicious, very sweet, and very sensual, and very, very uplifting. Gives me a little bit more enthusiasm, honestly, to talk about a fragrance like this that I really do enjoy. And it also has a little bit of a syrupy quality. So what happens is, as this one starts to dry down, as it moves into the mid, something about the composition gives it a little bit of a toasted cookie vibe, along with that truffle, along with the chocolate. Very, very nicely done. That toasted vibe is really, really nice. It's a nice touch. It's just a subtle kind of background toastiness, and there is a little bit of a kind of cookie vibe that comes in. As it moves on a little bit more, I get a little bit of the honey. Now the honey to me is not particularly strong. I do get a slight vibe of honey, but what I do get from it is a bit of a syrupiness. And it does add this extra layer, this extra dimension of sweetness that is really nice, and it has a nice syrupy quality to it. There is, I believe, plum as well. I don't really get too much of the plum, but what I do get is a little bit of fruitiness. And what that gives me is this kind of feeling like I've bitten into one of these chocolates and it has fruit in the middle of it, and it's just there, nice, juicy, a little bit syrupy, and you have this nice, delicious chocolate treat. So this is definitely what this one smells like to me. Absolutely fantastic. I don't know why this one is not talked about more. This is a really, really, really good gourmand fragrance in my opinion. And it is one that also performs very well. So the sillage from this one is pretty good. I wouldn't give it like the absolute best. So for me, I would say one of the best fragrances when it comes to sillage is Italica. It's just an absolute beast. So if you get into that scent bubble, you smell it, it leaves a really nice trail. It is very thick in that bubble around you. This is not, I would guess, the highest rating for sillage, but it does have a nice sillage. It leaves a little bit of trail. There's definitely a bubble. People will catch a nice whiff in the air with this one. Projection on opening is fairly good, so I'd give it a nice arm's length. It's not super beastly, but it is definitely strong enough for something that I think definitely suits the colder weather a little bit better. The projection does last for a while, you know, in between an hour and a half to 2.5 hour mark, give or take. And it doesn't quite settle down quite to a skin scent, but it definitely does come a little closer to the skin after that time period. Now it definitely, as I mentioned, has nice sillage still and nice performance, longevity in that 8-hour mark, sometimes a little bit longer, but it definitely has good longevity and it has good projection. So as I was saying, with respect to wearing this one, I think it's best suited obviously for the colder weather. It's quite sweet. So that syrupiness adds a dimension of sweetness. The chocolate, the truffle, it all works together to add a very nice dimension of sweetness. To me, it doesn't become overly cloying or too much. And as I mentioned, there is a little bit of fruitiness in there, so it adds, again, another dimension of sweetness. Now, it isn't cloying, but I think if you sprayed too much of it, it could be. But I think just a normal routine, personally, I would go 2 to 3 sprays, just because I'm a little bit more conservative when it comes to sprays. And I think that would be good, and it wouldn't be overpoweringly or cloying. So, very nice. I think this one does have a definite hint of classiness to it. I think this is one, especially with Gourmand fragrances in general, I do think that they make fairly good fragrances for date nights. And the reason being that they are, to me, sensual. They're sweet, they're seductive, they're sensual. Now this one is, of course, unisex, as pretty much every Gourmand fragrance is going to be. It's either going to be, in my opinion, unisex or maybe a little feminine, depending. But this one can easily be worn by anyone. And it is one that I think if you're a Gourmand lover, you should check out. But again, best situations, I think, to wear this one. A night out, evening time, cooler weather, on a date, something like that. It could be worn in a more formal occasion, depending on the situation and depending on the person. I wouldn't mind wearing it to something like a formal night out or something like that. It just has a very nice, delicious, slightly toasted vibe. Now, the thing is, this one is also, I feel like, a little bit unique. So there are a lot of chocolate fragrances, there are a lot of gourmand fragrances, and to me this one's a little bit different with that truffle. It does add a nice dimension, and this one is fully gourmand, so I don't really detect any notes of anything else. So there are fragrances that I think, I've forgotten what it is, by Xerjoff, and it is, I think it's Aurum. It has a similar chocolatiness, it has a similar sweet vibe, and it has a similar kind of fruit in the center of a chocolate, basically, vibe. Now, it's a little bit different because it's more of a strawberry, but again, that one does have, to me, it smells quite rosy in the mid and the dry down. This one doesn't do any of that, so it stays gourmand for the entire duration, and honestly, I think it's a fantastic choice. I think this is one that I'm going to be wearing a lot more in the summer, or sorry, in the fall and winter. I actually cannot wait to wear this more, and I only have this little decant, but I think I'm going to end up using it all. So very fantastic fragrance, very pleasing, very uplifting. It's a good mood elevator for me anyways. This is one of the things that I like about fragrances like this. They just pick up your day. And yeah, so I think that's gonna be it. Have you guys tried anything from Pantheon Roma? I haven't actually heard a lot from the house. This is the first thing I've smelled from them. I think it's a fantastic choice. And leave a comment down below if you have tried anything from them. If not, don't forget to hit that like and subscribe button, and I'll see you guys in the next video.